You're listening to the Save the Date podcast, where we talk all things weddings, jewellery and romance. With love from Cullen Jewellery.
Hello and welcome back to the Save the Date podcast. I'm Sheridan.
And I'm Juliette, and we are so glad you are here.
So in today's episode, we wanted to share some sustainability tips that you can, use for your wedding. This is something that not only Juliette and I are kind of very passionate about, but it's something that Cullen Jewellery is obviously very into as well. Did you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, so sustainability is definitely a core pillar of our brand. We obviously use lab diamonds, no mine diamonds. We use recycled gold, carbon neutral lab-grown diamonds as well. We very much support the Eden reforestation process. So with every order of a ring, 10 trees get planted to, help regenerate the forests that have been destroyed by the mine diamond industry. So it's very much a focus point for us and, really embedded in our core, the core of our brand.
Yeah, I love that so much. So with that being said, we have a few tips and we've broken them up into kind of each element of the wedding. And so we're going to start from the very start, and that is with your guests and your venue. So the biggest tip I have for this is to kind of be mindful of where you actually are getting married and where your venue is in kind of comparison to your guests. So this can be a little bit tricky if you've got guests traveling a long way. But if you can, try and choose a more central location so you've got people traveling less and not as far. If you've got a large family and stuff, that can be tricky, and you're always going to have people traveling from somewhere. But if you can try and limit the amount of people who are traveling long distances, it's just a kind of easy way that you can be a little bit more kind to the environment.
And on that same note, you can also organise shuttle buses so that if your venue is a little bit further out or a bit more of a drive for people, you can all go collectively together. Not only would that be more convenient for everyone as well, so they don't have to worry about transport, but again, it comes back to that sustainability and obviously decreasing the number of cars that are traveling that distance.
Yeah, it makes it really fun too. I've been to a wedding. It was 4 hours away from where I live, but they had shuttle buses from like the center of the town. So then everyone from their accommodation could pretty much just get on a shuttle bus to the actual venue. And it was fun because like you kind of went there with everybody and then you were like coming back to your hotel after. The party kind of continued in the bus afterwards.
Yeah. It does make it super fun. Also, on that same note as well, even having your ceremony and reception at the same place, so there's no travel in between, can also be a really great way to kind of save on that travel aspect.
That's super smart as well. Yeah. So moving on to your stationery, the first thing that you can do is send digital invites rather than physical invites. This I think I've seen a little bit more lately. But I know there are some people that are really set on sending like proper physical invites. And if you do want to do that, you can always just not do physical save the dates and just have your save the dates as digital and then still send out the actual physical copy of your invites.
Yeah, for sure. And even if you're just sending one invite per family, can really help you reduce the amount of paper that gets, I guess, kind of wasted in a way that it's a single use sort of, situation. Like you can't reuse an invite and for another occasion, obviously. Reducing the number of invites you send out by doing one per family and not going overboard with that.
And also you can do the same thing with menus too.
Yes.
You don't necessarily have to have a menu for every single person that's like seated at your wedding. You can just do a menu per table or a menu per 4 people or something like that.
Yeah.
Because again, that's something that isn't really going to get reused.
This will also save you a lot of money.
So much money.
It doubles up as it's like a double hack where it's like, yes, it's more sustainable, but it's also more affordable.
Yeah, 100%.
To cut back on all of that kind of stuff.
So next up we have your decorations, and this includes flowers because you can always choose to go with fake flowers rather than real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's so many different ways you can be more sustainable with your decorations, including renting everything. You can even buy secondhand as well. And again, this could end up being a lot cheaper for you, which is like, I guess, a double bonus. But yeah, you're just not going or putting a lot of things to waste, because I suppose your wedding day is hopefully something you only do once, and you're only going to need that stuff once. So yeah, just renting can be a really great way to save on that.
Yeah, 100%. And you can also, if you can't find the thing that you want, either by renting it or by buying it secondhand, you can always buy it new, but with the intention that you're going to sell it down the line. Because yeah, for the most part, you're probably not going to use these things again. And if you buy them with the intention to sell, not only are you then kind of giving another bride the opportunity to save a little bit of money on their things, but then you're also getting a bit of money back on what you've spent. And we all know weddings are expensive. Yes. So as much as you can kind of get back or save makes a big difference kind of in your overall spend.
Absolutely. And yeah, of course, then you've got that sustainable aspect too that goes along with it, where it's, you're not
fast fashion of the wedding industry.
Yes, absolutely.
Something else really cool that you can do with your flowers, and we kind of spoke about this in another episode, but give your florist creative freedom. So you can always give them, I guess, a color palette, but if you give them the creative freedom of just choosing the flowers that are in season in your local area at the time of your wedding, then that way they're not having to like source flowers from really far away, or potentially, you know, flowers that are not necessarily as sustainable, or natives are a really good option too, because they're obviously native to your area and to the country. So that's another really cool one that's kind of just a nice little tip if you're not wanting the same kind of flowers as everybody else. Give your florist the creative freedom. It doesn't necessarily mean you can't have any input, but giving them sort of that option can be really helpful as well.
I like that. It's a good, I feel like it's a good tip that maybe a lot of people wouldn't think of. And it's like all the small things that add up is what's really going to together make a big difference in a sustainable wedding.
Yeah.
Because a little thing like that, I mean, if that's the only thing you could do, that's obviously still, anything is better than nothing.
Exactly, yeah.
But yeah, it's all the little things that add up that really can make a difference.
Yeah. And you'd be surprised as well. Like, a florist's job is to make a beautiful floral arrangement. So you might find that it actually looks so much better when you give them the creative freedom rather than just like telling them exactly what you want, because you're not the expert necessarily.
Even if, like, I guess if something's in season or local, it could end up looking a lot more fresh, and like, I don't know what traveling or how you would transport flowers, how that really works.
Yeah.
But I would presume they would be maybe a little better. I don't know.
So in my last job, when I worked for a transport company, I went and did a tour of their air freight section, and they had like a whole bunch of flowers, and they literally just are like refrigerated.
Oh, wow.
And dampened.
Oh, that's what keeps
so
them fresh.
So that they stay as fresh as possible. And obviously they're on like a time limit for how long they can sit in each kind of warehouse and things before they need to get properly delivered. But obviously, like, if you're air freighting something from another country,
yes,
that is, not the best on your carbon footprint. So
no, not at all.
So now we have the ceremony, and the main thing, I guess, for your ceremony outside of course, your flowers and that kind of thing is the petal toss. So a lot of venues now have this as, I guess, a rule that you sign on your contract, but make sure that you're not doing like artificial petals for your petal toss. Actually do something that's like biodegradable, natural. You can get freeze-dried. I had freeze-dried rose petals.
Oh, cool.
And so essentially they literally came in like a box, and they look fresh, but they're freeze-dried. So they stay looking like that until pretty much they get wet.
Oh, cool.
So it was like literally perfect. They still look like fresh petals and everything like that. They still photographed really beautifully, but once they kind of fall to the earth, they're just gonna biodegrade.
Yeah.
Is that the word?
Yeah. Like, any sort of flower would.
Flower would, yeah. As soon as they get like moisture to them, they just act as a normal petal.
Yeah, which also is really great for the cleanup, because you don't have to worry about that too. But obviously, yes, you don't want to be putting plastic confetti or whatnot anywhere. No. Definitely not a good choice.
Definitely not, especially if you're having an outdoor wedding. Like if your wedding is inside a chapel, I guess it's not so bad. because like that's going to get cleaned up and the chances of it kind of getting out into the world is a bit less, but obviously it's still going to go into the trash.
Yes. Yeah.
And
even all the animals that could be affected by that is also not good.
Yeah.
So beyond that, we don't want any birds eating your confetti.
Any turtles. No straws, please.
No. Now, moving on to your reception. Other than reducing your stationery and being more sustainable when it comes to that sort of stuff, you can also opt for edible favours. So the little favours that sit on the table as like a little gift, you can give to your guests, a parting gift. A lot of people do opt for stuff that I suppose is just an item rather than something you can eat. So, yeah, a more sustainable option is to go something, obviously, your guests can enjoy, that they can eat, rather than a piece of plastic of some sort that's like, I don't know, a plaque.
Yeah, I think the edible favours are cute as well because so my sister, they did maple syrup for their favours and it was kind of like an ode to their kind of more start of their relationship because they lived in Canada for a while.
Cute.
And so obviously like maple trees
are
a thing in Canada.
Maple syrup.
Maple syrup. So they had like Canadian maple syrup as their favours.
That's super cute.
Which was like really nice and like obviously, means something to their relationship. But I really like edible favours.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that you could also do, I haven't seen this be done, but I think it would be really cool, is if you have separate florals for your ceremony and your reception, you can always get somebody to kind of break up your ceremony florals and place them on each table setting. And then each person can kind of go home with a little bit of your flowers.
That would be really cute.
I think that would be so
really
cute.
Nice.
Because like you always kind of tell people, oh, take the flowers like that are on the table, they're going to get thrown away anyway. But not everybody kind of wants to walk away with a vase.
Yeah, a big bunch.
But like giving them, one or two flowers, I think would just be really nice. Like I would love to get that.
Yeah, I think that would be really cute.
Yeah.
Just like something you can enjoy for the week after the wedding. Where it's like, oh, cute little flower.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not so big that like you're going to worry about, oh, I have to get rid of this. Like, it's like easy to just put in your green bin.
Absolutely.
And one last tip for having a more sustainable wedding is obviously we mentioned buying secondhand and reselling like your decorations where you can, but do this with literally as much of your everything for your wedding as possible. Whether it's your dress, your veil, your shoes, you can literally resell everything. And like we kind of mentioned, not only is this going to be a bit of a nice little bonus for the money that you've spent. You're going to help out other brides and you're putting that stuff back rather than just kind of having it sit around and then eventually go in the bin.
Yeah, for sure.
However many years down the line.
Yeah. And like, again, maybe different depending if you're renting a dress, but if you're buying secondhand, most of the time the dress has only been worn once because it's on someone else's wedding day. So yeah, you're basically getting a brand new dress, or it's always kept in a very good condition if it has been worn by a couple different brides. So there's really no, like, why not buy secondhand?
Especially when you are spending so much money. And if you have this overarching theme of, you want to be as sustainable as possible, there's really nothing wrong with buying things second or third hand or getting things off Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you can find some really great deals as well.
Yeah.
Again, just touching on the money thing again.
Yeah.
Like there's just so much out there.
Yeah, 100%. And I have one more thing. This is kind of not super related to weddings, but I've seen it going around lately and it's basically trapped water. I don't know if you've seen this, but I've seen this literally go like viral.
Yeah.
And I know some like if you have a ceremony on a really hot day, you might hand out like bottled water to people. Make sure, and this is just in your normal life as well, if you have water that you're not going to finish, instead of just like throwing it in the bin, like with the water still in the bottle, always empty the water. Because water is like kind of a limited resource in a way.
I see. Oh, wait, I think I have seen something on this. Yeah.
And I just thought it was like, when I saw it, I was like shocked because I just never thought about that.
Yeah.
But if you at least like put the water back into the environment, if you keep bottled water in a bottle and put it in the trash, it's never going to go back into the environment because like plastic doesn't degrade over time.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I didn't think about that either.
Yeah. I usually empty water before I like put it anywhere.
Yeah,
anyway.
same. I'll usually put it in like a pot plant or something.
Yeah.
Just find a random plant and just put it in there.
I mean, that's like the best way to do it. But
there's like a massive tree outside and I'm putting like one like teaspoon of water. There you go.
You're like, there's my little tip for the environment. But yeah, even if you're just putting it literally down the drain.
Yeah.
It like makes such a difference. Yeah, I don't know how relevant that will be to everybody's weddings, but just in your life, day to day, if you drink bottled water, don't trap it because it'll be trapped forever.
And buy a reusable bottle.
Buy a reusable bottle, yeah. Yeah, if you're someone that doesn't have a reusable bottle at this point.
Doesn't need to be the big Stanley cups.
No, you can get really good ones from Kmart.
Yeah, little baby ones.
So that brings us to the end of this episode. So thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of the Save the Date podcast. We hope you learned something new, and if you're currently planning a wedding, congratulations, good luck, and have fun.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe and leave us a review wherever you are listening.
And make sure you come and connect with us on our socials at the Save the Date podcast and join our Facebook group, the Save the Date community. We post on there every week, a few times a week, and we would love to have you guys as part of that community. And we hope you have a wonderful day or night, whenever it is that you're listening, and we'll be back for another episode next week.
See you then.
Bye.